Why does it feel like no one chooses you for romance? You give your all, do everything right, but in the end, you always get left behind. Have you ever felt this way? Well, I'm going to tell you a truth that no one talks about. You are not here to be chosen, and that is exactly why things are not happening the way you expected. Many people with strong energy and a higher purpose experience this same pattern, but this is not bad luck, nor is it a flaw in you. In reality, it's a sign that something much bigger is at play. And when you understand what's really happening, everything will change. Today, I'm going to show you why your energy intimidates some people, why certain relationships seem impossible to work out, and most importantly, how to turn this situation in your favor. Because, believe me, the problem was never you, but rather what your presence awakens in others. Now tell me, have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, you are never anyone's priority? Share your story in the comments. I want to know how this has played out in your life. Loneliness is not a mistake, it's a calling. People with a higher purpose often feel out of place, as if they don't belong anywhere. This happens because their energy no longer fits into conventional molds. It's as if life is saying, you didn't come here to follow the ordinary, but to create something new. This feeling of being alone can be painful, but it's also a sign that something grand is being prepared. Instead of seeing loneliness as a punishment, see it as a strategic pause. When life removes certain connections, it's because it's making space for something better. Look at how artists, spiritual leaders, and great thinkers have spent long periods in solitude before manifesting their greatest works. This time alone is a gift, a period to refine your essence and strengthen your purpose. It is in this silence that great truths emerge. Society teaches that being surrounded by people is a sign of happiness, but true fulfillment comes from connecting with yourself. Many times we seek external validation without realizing that the answers are already within us. The secret is not to avoid loneliness, but to use it to discover who you truly are. When you do this, your energy field changes, attracting new connections that align with your true path. So instead of fighting this feeling, embrace it. Great transformations begin in moments of isolation. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but it's in the silence that you hear the most important messages from your own spirit. And when your energy is aligned, something powerful begins to happen. People with a strong light never go unnoticed. Your presence has an impact, even without saying a single word. Have you ever noticed how some people seem drawn to you while others feel uncomfortable for no apparent reason? This happens because your energy reveals what is hidden in them. For some, this brings comfort and inspiration. For others, it causes discomfort because it forces them to confront parts of themselves they'd rather ignore. This energy can be a guiding light for those ready to grow, but it can also be seen as a threat to those still resisting change. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. Those who seek clarity will be grateful, but those who aren't ready to see may want to turn it off. This explains why, often, people who seemed close suddenly start to distance themselves without an apparent reason. What few understand is that this reaction isn't about you, but about what your energy awakens in others. Instead of questioning why someone walked away, ask yourself, what was my energy showing this person? When you understand this phenomenon, you stop taking rejection personally and start seeing reality with more ease and understanding. Keeping your light shining takes courage. Not everyone is ready for the transformation that your presence can bring, and that's okay. Your role is not to convince anyone, but to continue vibrating in your truth. And when you do that, something interesting starts to happen. The energy of an elevated person acts like a mirror. It not only illuminates, but also reveals. When you enter someone's life, you may bring out truths that were dormant. This is not always comfortable. Many people, when confronted with their own shadows, prefer to step away rather than face them. And this is where the misinterpretation happens. Their distance doesn't mean rejection, but rather an internal transformation process. It's like when a wound is healing. At first it hurts, burns, and itches, but that's part of the healing process. The same happens with the energy of those who vibrate at a higher frequency. They touch sensitive spots in others. This can awaken both admiration and resistance. If someone distances themselves, it doesn't mean your presence was negative, but rather that it stirred something deep within them that they are not yet ready to face. In many cases, those who leave eventually return, but with a new perspective. Have you ever noticed how some people reappear after a while with a different, more receptive attitude? This happens because, over time, they begin to process what was awakened inside them. It's like planting a seed in fertile soil. It takes time to grow. Your energy was the trigger, but the true growth happens within each person. So don't worry too much about those who leave. When you are on the right path, some people exit your life because they are not yet ready for change. But just as nature follows its course, those truly in tune with your energy will find their way back at the right time. Not every separation is a permanent goodbye. Sometimes it's just a necessary pause for both sides to grow. People enter and leave your life as energetic alignment shifts, and this is natural. Many times, those who distance themselves need time to mature, resolve inner conflicts, and only then be ready for a deeper, more authentic connection. Distance, therefore, is often a sign that something is adjusting, not that something went wrong. Have you noticed that some of the strongest friendships are those that withstand time and distance? This happens because true connections do not depend on constant presence, but on genuine alignment. There are people who can go years without seeing each other, but when they reconnect, the bond remains strong, as if they had never been apart. That's because what unites them is not the frequency of their meetings, but the shared vibration. However, it's important not to cling to the idea that everyone will return. Some people leave your life forever, and that's okay. Every encounter has a purpose. Some come to teach, others to test, and only a few to stay. The secret is not to force the presence of those who need to go. When you allow yourself to let go, you create space for new connections to emerge naturally, ones that are more aligned with your current moment. The key to experiencing deep and meaningful connections is simple. Keep your energy elevated and let the universe take care of the rest. Those who are truly meant to be part of your path will always find a way to stay, and those who are not yet ready, well, they may return when you least expect it. But while that happens, there is something even more important to work on. Loneliness, when properly understood, stops being a burden and becomes a compass. In the moments when the world's noise fades away, you have the opportunity to look within and notice what once went unnoticed. Most people run from this moment, filling their routines with distractions, empty relationships, and external validation. But those who dare to dive into their own essence discover an entire universe waiting to be explored. Self-knowledge is not a destination, but a journey. Every experience, every challenge, and every person who crosses your path brings a new piece to the puzzle of your identity. It's important to observe, question, and be willing to see beyond appearances. What patterns keep repeating in your life? What wounds still influence your choices? These questions are where true transformation begins. And do you know what's interesting? The more someone knows themselves, the stronger they become. The need for approval diminishes, clarity about their purpose increases, and their energy begins to attract exactly what resonates with their truth. It's like tuning an instrument. At first it may seem difficult, but over time, the melody becomes more harmonious, and this directly impacts the quality of the connections and opportunities that arise. But to walk this path, courage is required. Courage to truly see yourself, to let go of what no longer makes sense, and to allow yourself to grow. And in the midst of this process, something incredible happens. The pain that once felt like a weight begins to transform into something far more powerful. Every pain carries a message. At first, it may seem like nothing but suffering, but those who have the courage to look closer realize that there is a hidden lesson within. How many times have you gone through something difficult only to realize later that it was necessary for your growth? Pain doesn't come to punish, it comes to shape. It teaches patience, resilience, and most importantly, wisdom. Those who learn to listen to it become stronger, while those who try to ignore it remain trapped in the same cycle. The greatest transformations come from the most challenging moments. Think about the leaders, teachers, and people who inspire you the most. Almost all of them have faced rejection, failure, and loss. What sets them apart is not what they suffered, but how they used that suffering. Instead of playing the victim, they used their pain as fuel for something greater. This is the true power of those who understand that every obstacle carries a valuable lesson. But how do you turn pain into wisdom? The first step is to stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" This shift in perspective removes the weight of suffering and shifts the focus to growth. Instead of feeling defeated, you begin to see each experience as part of your strengthening process. What once seemed unfair becomes a lesson. What once seemed like an ending becomes a new beginning. And the more you learn, the more prepared you become for future challenges. Pain ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally in your development. And as you strengthen this mindset, something essential happens. Your faith and confidence in your journey become unshakable. The more someone overcomes challenges, the stronger their connection with something greater becomes. Faith is not just about believing. It's about trusting the process even when the answers aren't clear yet. Many times, the path seems uncertain, difficulties feel unfair, and loneliness weighs heavy. But looking back, you realize that every piece was always falling into place, exactly as it should. Purpose in life does not appear out of nowhere. It reveals itself along the journey. Every experience, every loss, and every triumph plays a role in shaping your mission. When you start seeing your challenges as training for something greater, resistance fades and trust grows. After all, it doesn't make sense for you to have come this far just to get lost, right? There is a reason for everything, even if it's not visible yet. And here's a crucial point. Spirituality is not about dogmas or rules, but about internal alignment. The more connected you are with yourself, the clearer your intuition becomes. Life starts sending signs, synchronicities happen, and decisions seem to flow naturally. It's as if suddenly an invisible thread begins to guide your every step. What once felt confusing transforms into clarity, and this clarity changes everything. Anxiety decreases, the need for control weakens, and a new feeling grows within you, the certainty that you are on the right path. And when this certainty settles in, you become not just stronger, but also a positive influence on the world around you. When someone transforms their pain into strength, their mere presence begins to impact those around them. It's not necessary to give grand speeches or try to convince anyone. Your example speaks for itself. People who once felt lost find inspiration in your resilience, in the way you handle challenges, and in how you move forward without being shaken. You become living proof that it is possible to overcome anything. The impact doesn't only happen through grand gestures, but also in the smallest details. A piece of advice given at the right moment, a word of encouragement for someone who needed to hear it, an energy that transmits peace and security. How many times has a simple encounter with someone changed your day? You could be that person for others, often without even realizing it. Small actions create great waves of transformation, and that's the most interesting part. By elevating your own vibration, you automatically inspire those around you, not because you try to force change, but because your presence naturally transmits something different, Some people may resist at first, but over time they will realize that there is something special about the way you live. The impact happens effortlessly because it comes from truth and real experience. And the stronger you become, the more this influence grows. Your story, your triumphs, and your journey begin to touch lives in ways you never imagined. But this impact doesn't stop there. It expands like a domino effect, reaching places and people you never dreamed of. Every small action generates invisible ripples that spread far beyond what you can see. A simple act of kindness can transform someone's day, which in turn may inspire another person, and so on. Many times we believe that only great achievements can change the world, but the truth is that small, consistent acts every day create a lasting impact. What you do in your daily life has a far greater effect than you imagine. Imagine someone who, inspired by your resilience, decides to change their life. That person, by improving their own reality, influences their family, friends, and even strangers. Without realizing it, you become the starting point for collective transformation. This is the true power of living aligned with your truth. You not only grow, but you also help others grow. And here's the great revelation: you don't have to be famous, have millions of followers, or do something extraordinary to create change. Simply following your purpose and keeping your energy elevated already sets this effect in motion. Your words, your posture, and your way of facing life silently inspire those around you. Even if you don't see the results immediately, they are happening. The world is always in motion, and your vibration creates waves that travel far. When you understand this, you realize that every choice matters, every thought shapes your reality, and every action has the potential to transform lives. And all of this is preparing you for something even greater. Every challenge, every lesson, and every transformation you have gone through was not in vain. All of it was preparing you for a future where you will be stronger, more confident, and more aligned with who you truly are. The journey may have been difficult, but now you carry something few possess: an unshakable confidence in your own ability to overcome anything. That is the true advantage of someone ready to face whatever comes next. And do you know the best part? The connections that will come into your life from now on will be much more authentic. After everything you've been through, you no longer accept less than you deserve. People who don't vibrate on the same frequency naturally drift away, while those who truly align with you appear at the right time. Relationships, opportunities, and experiences start to be guided by a deep sense of alignment and truth. What once felt like a burden now reveals itself as a great training. Every rejection taught you to value yourself. Every moment of solitude helped you connect with your essence. Every challenge prepared you for something greater. The future is no longer a frightening mystery, but a path full of possibilities that you are fully capable of embracing. And this is what makes all the difference. Instead of just waiting for something to happen, now you know that you are the protagonist of your own story. With this new mindset, you not only attract the best opportunities, but you are also ready to make the most of them. And now that you understand all of this, the question is, what will you do with this power? Now that you know why certain connections don't happen as expected, the real question is, will you keep waiting to be chosen, or will you take ownership of your true power and start choosing? Because the truth is, when you stop seeking external validation and start recognizing your own worth, everything changes. Solitude was never a punishment, but a call for you to strengthen yourself. And when you finally align with your essence, the right people appear. Not because you begged for it, but because your energy has become a magnet for true connections. So, the big question is, are you ready to take the next step? Tell me in the comments what part of this video resonated with you the most. I want to know how this message touched you, and if you want to continue this journey of growth with me, make sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and stay tuned. There's still so much I want to share with you. See you in the next video.